So the Chatterbox has become one of my favorite exotic SMGs to run in Year 7 Season 2 due to the increased rate of fire from the seasonal modifier, and if you guys have the control points captured, that increase damage. This thing, if you know how to use it correctly, can be one deadly weapon. So the exotic weapon I am using is called the Chatterbox. Now we're gonna have SMG damage, crit chance, and damage sharks out of cover on here. Now the reason why this one is so good is because of the talent that Chatterbox has. When you reload, rate of fire is increased by 25% for each enemy within 15 meters for the duration of the magazine. Now this stacks up to 5 times, but what's even more impressive about this is when you do get a kill, it refills 50% of your magazine. Now, you might have noticed we are running the Strikers gear set, and the reason why is because of how the Strikers pairs up with the Chatterbox. Now, the Strikers set is going to give you 15% weapon handling. It gives you that 15% rate of fire, meaning we are firing this thing very, very fast. And then obviously you guys know Strikers Gamble. Weapon hits increase total weapon damage by 0.65%, stacking up 100 times. And since we have such a high rate of fire, these stacks come quick. So let's get into the build. So for the mask, we are running a Strikers mask. This is going to have weapon damage, crit chance, and crit damage. For our second piece of Strikers, we'll have the knee pads with armor and crit damage. For our third piece of Strikers, we'll have the holster with armor and crit damage. Our fourth piece of Strikers is going to be the gloves with armor and crit chance. Now, some of you guys have been noticing I've been getting a chunk of armor on kill on this build, and that is because we are running 20% armor on kill. So it almost feels like if we were running a Hunter's Fury set. And the way we're able to pull that off is because we are running a Palisade chest piece that's going to give us 10% armor on kill. We have armor on this piece. We have critical hit damage. We do have headshot damage here. I would like to have crit chance there. We have critical hit damage right here, and then we do have obliterate, critical hits increase total weapon damage by 1% for 10 seconds. Now this does stack up to 20 times. Now you may be asking, well, that's only 10% armor on kill. Well, we are running the gunner class, and that's going to give us an additional 10% armor on kill, and I'll show you the stats in just a second. Now, most of you guys probably noticed every time we kill an enemy, we are dropping a trophy. And well, that's because we are running the Memento backpack. Probably one of the best pieces for solo players to complete a lot of content. Remember, this comes with weapon damage, skill tier, and armor, but it has a really nice talent called Kill Confirmed. Enemies you kill drop a trophy on death. Collecting trophies provides a short and long-term buff. So for this build, every time we pick up a trophy for 10 seconds, we'll get 10% weapon damage because we have 2 red cores. We'll get 50% bonus armor because we have 5 blue cores, and we'll get 5% skill efficiency because we have 1 yellow core. Now there is a long-term stack. Once you have full stacks, that's 30% weapon damage, 30% skill efficiency, and 3% armor regen. And that's why the Memento backpack is so powerful, because it's like having 3 talents in one bag, and for solo players, it's the perfect piece. Now, if you're in a group, yes, you can still run the Memento backpack, but again, you just got to make sure you're getting those kills so you can collect those trophies. But once you're at full stack, you already have those 3 talents. So yes, it can work in a group, but again, most solo players prefer running the Memento backpack versus a different bag because of how many bonuses you get for running the Memento. And that's why for solo players, it becomes one of those pieces that you start to see in a lot of solo player builds. And as I am probably 90% solo, it's my go-to piece. For the stats, you can see that we have 58% crit chance, 132% crit damage, 78% headshot damage, and look at the armor on kill, 332,000. But that's enough of that build. Let's get into the second one, the Chatterfury. So have you ever wanted to activate rapid fire in the Division 2? Well, this season, you can have just that. We call this build the Chatterfury 2.0 because we put out a build like this years ago, and well, it's back and better than ever because of the way the seasonal modifiers work this season. And you pair that up with a good Chatterfury build, holy, this thing is shredding. So most of you guys have noticed I am running the Chatterbox, and the reason why is because the way the RPM from this seasonal modifier works has made slower rate of fire weapons a lot better. And we all know the Chatterbox initial rate of fire is a little slow, but with an additional 30% rate of fire that you can get, we're sitting at 1,105 RPM, and that's not including the Chatterbox talent, which really makes the Chatterbox shine. When you reload, rate of fire is increased by 25% for each enemy within 15 meters. Now this can stack up to 5 times. So if you have 5 enemies, that's why this just absolutely obliterates. Now, if you notice, kills refill 50% of your magazine. So you have to be careful about spamming the weapon, but you can actually get a ton of insane amount of survivability because you never have to reload. Now this comes with crit chance, 10 rounds in the magazine, 10% weapon handling, and 15% critical hit damage. Now, my Chatterbox does have 20% expertise, so I'm getting additional 20% weapon damage right there. We have SMG damage, crit chance, and damage to targets out of cover. For your secondary, you guys can absolutely run whatever you want. I have the Lexington for show. I am using the Chatterbox for this build. So we are running the Hunter's Fury. Now that's why we called this build the Chatterfury. This is the most updated Chatterfury build I have put out. Now you can actually add an extra blue to this build if you want to sit around 1.5 million. For the making of this video, I set at 1.3. We're hitting about million crits. So we have 15% shotgun damage and 15% SMG damage for the 2-piece. The 3-piece gives us that 20% armor on kill. Now, you pair that up with the gunner class, that's 30% armor on kill, plus 50% health on kill. Now we go to Apex Predator. Enemies within 15 meters receive a debuff, amplifying your weapon damage against them by 20%. Now, when you kill a debuff enemy with your weapon, it disorients other enemies within 5 meters, amplifying weapon damage by 5% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 5 times to those. So that's why Hunter's Fury on this build has been an absolutely insane combination with the Chatterbox. If you go over to our stats, you'll see we have weapon damage, crit damage, critical hit damage mod. Now, if you want to go for 1.5 million armor, what you're going to do here is you're going to put on a blue and go with armor or critical hit damage. That's up to you. For the chest piece, I went with the Grupo Sombra chest piece for the 13% critical hit damage. We have weapon damage, crit chance, crit damage, and a critical hit chance mod right there. Obviously, we have Obliterate on her. Critical hits increase total weapon damage by 1% for 10 seconds. So that's going to give us a total of 20% extra weapon damage on the build. We are running our second piece of Hunter's Fury, which will be the holster, and we have armor, critical hit damage here. For our knee pads, we have our third piece of Hunter's Fury. We have weapon damage, critical hit damage. And then our fourth and final piece of Hunter's Fury is going to be the gloves, armor, critical hit damage. And then you might have noticed we do have the stack. So we do have the Memento backpack with weapon damage, armor, skill tier, and critical hit damage. So this is actually one of the better survivability pieces for you solo players. Every time we pick up a trophy, we're getting 20% weapon damage. We're getting 30% bonus armor. If you guys want to add one more blue, that would be 40% bonus armor and 5% skill efficiency. Plus the long-term stacks. Once you pick up trophies, you pick up 30 of them, 30% weapon damage. We'll have 30% skill efficiency and 3% armor regen, and this can be continuously reset every time you pick up another trophy, so that 300 seconds will constantly stay alive. Very, very good piece. I am running the Crusader Shear just for the survivability. If I get in trouble, I proc it out. And then we have a Reviver Hive in case I go down. Stats, we have 56% crit chance, 156% crit damage, 70% headshot damage. We're getting 386 armor on kill, sitting at 1.2. Again, if you guys want more blues, you can add that, and that way you can have a little bit more survivability. Again, 1.3 million, 1.5 million. I feel like that is the sweet spot for this build. So if you guys want to run 1.5, that's perfectly fine. The numbers, damage numbers will just be a little bit less. But there you have it, the Chatterfury.